I'm Betty Franklin. I'm with the Cotton Museum here in the city of Greenville, Texas, and we're working on the African American History Project. Today, we're interviewing Miss Katie Tennison, and we're going to discuss being hot. What is it like to be a beautician in the city of Greenville? Miss Tennison, thank you very much for volunteering to work with us today. And when I heard about you, I understand you have worked at several businesses over the years. Tell me, how did you get started in this business?
Well, I grew up doing hair. My mom did hair, and I've been doing hair ever since I was young, from 9 years old. And my mom did hair, and so I taught myself to do mine. But I never realized that I was going to be a beautician.
Mm-hmm.
And when I used to go to the beauticians to get my hair done, Mom would take us. We would stay there all day long.
Uh-huh.
And I promised myself one of these days, I knew I was talking it into existence. So one of these days, when I get to be a beautician, I'm going to take appointments.
Mm-hmm.
People ain't going to be standing in my shop all day long. But then one of my first job, I worked at Wing Industries, and then I worked at Hager Slacks, and then I talked myself into going. Well, actually, it was another beautician,
Uh-huh.
and I started doing hair out of my house because I've always did stuff on the side,
Mm-hmm.
and I started doing hair out of my house, and then I had a beautician that stayed across the street from me,
Mm-hmm.
and his name was Don Brigman.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody know Don Brigman.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to me one day and he says, "I've seen your work."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "You do good work." He says, "I want to teach you how to cut hair." And I said, "I can't cut no hair." He said, "No." He said, "I want to teach you how to cut hair. It's real simple." He said, "You good." He said, "You a natural."
Mm-hmm.
So he told me, when I go to beauty school, he said, "I want you to learn everything.
Mm-hmm.
White hair, black hair, Spanish hair, it's all the same."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Okay." So he taught me how to do cut hair on his hair. So before I went to beauty school, I already knew how to do hair.
Uh-huh.
Because I was raised over my mom, she seen it all, and he taught me how to cut hair. So when I went to beauty school, I already knew how to cut.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ladies told me, she said, "You cut like Don Brigman." I said, "Yeah, he taught me how to cut hair."
Uh-huh.
So, that's how I got started.
Uh-huh.
And so I went to beauty school just to get my license because I already knew what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then my first job was at Regis Hairstylist
Uh-huh.
here in Greenville when they first opened up the mall.
Wow.
And I went to JCPenney's, but JCPenney's didn't hire me because they thought in their mind, since I was out of beauty school, I didn't have a clientele.
Uh-huh.
So they looking for a clientele. So when I went to Regis, they hired me on the spot.
Wow.
I worked there 3 years at Regis Hairstylist, and they asked me to be the manager. And I managed it for 3 years.
It's a total of 6.
6 years.
Wow.
I became a style director.
Uh-huh.
And I taught them how to do hair. I taught them how to cut hair. And then after that, the Lord just led me to get my own.
That's wonderful. Now, you mentioned different textures. Tell me about the different textures.
Spanish hair,
Uh-huh.
all types of hair. Spanish hair, black hair, white hair, Caucasian hair, men's hair, all of it.
Uh-huh.
He told me to learn how to do it because that's where your money's at.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to work for Regis, I could do it all. They couldn't do black hair, but I could do white hair.
Uh-huh.
So they told me that it wasn't fair. I said, "Yes, it is fair."
Uh-huh.
I said, "You can do black hair, you just got to learn how to do it. Just like I learned how to do white hair."
Uh-huh.
But I was teaching them how to do white hair, to cut.
Wow.
So, I met a lady in JCPenney's one day.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around 33 years,
Uh-huh.
maybe a little longer, but I'm going to say 33. And she looked at me and she said, "You must be Katie." She said, "I've always heard about you and everything like that." She said, "Girl," she said, "you are a legend."
Mm-hmm.
And she told me that. This is a white lady told me that. Then I had a black lady. She came from out of Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "I came to Greenville because I wanted to see who you was." She said, "Your name is all over
Wow.
Dallas area and whatever." So I told her, I said, okay. She said, so you and Katie? And I told her, yeah. So I went to Dudley College. I went.
Now tell me about the college again, Dudley. Where is that located?
It's in North Carolina. I went there, and when I went, I was thinking that I was going to learn something different. But I learned a couple of styles of difference, different hairstyles stuff. But as far as the cutting and all that, I already knew it, so they couldn't teach me that. But then after that, I went to different hair shows, because once you get out of beauty school, you have to spend money to make money in order to build yourself up. So that's the technique. So a lot of people think that when you come out of beauty school that you make a lot of money. It takes years. It took me 3 years to get my clientele built up the way I should. So I tell a lot of people, if you get your clientele in a year's time, I always tell them God owe me an apology. But now the difference in that then is that you have to have, what I learned is the love for it. You have to have the love for it, because if you don't have the love for it and you just love the money, you won't last long. And I learned that, and I think that's why I'm still here today, because I like what I do.
Okay. I'm in a note. You said the love for it. Tell me about the clientele when you say you have a love for it. Give me a little more information.
When you have a love for it, you have a desire. You like it. It's like a hobby. It's like a hobby. When I was married to my first husband, he used to say, "You're always talking about you tired. You're always talking about you tired. But when you go doing hair, it just peps me up, because that's I like doing it." So that's the same thing about cooking. You can be tired and start cooking, and all of a sudden, because you love it. So that's what I mean by the love of it.
Okay.
Not only that, you have to love the people. You have to be a people person. You have to have a sweet attitude. Because and learn, because you don't have to know how to. If I'm saying it right, I'm not a big word person, but you have to know how to deal with people, because that's a mean people. And I'm the type of person, I'm real laid back. So when people come in, and you can tell when people come in when they have an attitude. You can tell when people come in and they don't want you on their hair. You can tell when people come in and they think that you don't know what you're doing. So you have to prove to that person in just that split second that you know what you're doing. So I've always learned that if you keep your hand on them and talk to them, you got their attention. Touch. Yeah. So it all in the touch. So they'll realize that you love them. Now standing back and stuff like that, you kind of run them off. It's in the attitude.
This is so good. Let's go back, because you worked at Regency, and I know the majority of the clientele with Caucasians. So tell me about your relationship.
Well, it started out, I was the only black that was in there. And I don't really like to say it a lot of times, but I wasn't really raised up around my own color.
Okay. So
I guess I knew how to react to them, because I was raised up in a white school. I wasn't raised up here in Greenville. I wasn't raised up around black. So when I came to Greenville, I didn't know a lot of people. So when I went out there, I guess I knew how to mingle with them, because I was raised up with them, around them. So I didn't have no kind of attitude or nothing, or because the attitude I got, I'm just as good as you are. The attitude that I have is that what I was taught is you are no better than what you think you are. So you don't want to go in as have a something on your shoulder. Well, I'm black, so reason why I can't do it because I'm black, or reason why you're not doing this because I'm black. You can't go in with that kind of attitude. So I can't really talk on black stuff like that much, because I really wasn't raised up around it. So I don't really have that kind of mind, because you have to be in a situation in order to be able to talk about the situation. You understand what I'm saying? Because some people might misunderstand what I'm saying. And you know, I've been told that you think you white, you stuck up, you this, you know, but they just don't know me. People just don't know me. I stay to myself. I go to church. I go home. I raise my kids. You know, I'm friendly to people. I'm nice to people, and that's the way I was raised. So I'm never in a lot of stuff, a lot of action. Okay. I've always kind of laid low. But.
Okay, and that's a very thoughtful suggestion, because when you said I always laid low, you just didn't get involved in a lot of the things that went around. Okay. And you mentioned the different people and the attitudes, and I love when you said touch. You said touch sometimes calms them down. So that's really good. And when you're working with your customer, and you know, we also talk about the virus that's going on now. Do you see a lot of mental health issues that's going on?
Not in my shop. Not around the people that I've been around. In the shop that we're in, we wear our masks, and they wear their masks. So we stay on top of that.
Oh, okay.
We keep everything sprayed down. We keep everything sanitized, because we have to do that anyway. Okay. As for being in the beautician industry, we have to do that anyway. So a lot of times, you know, they say they can't breathe that good or whatever. As long as I got my mask on and I'm not breathing on you, that's the way I look at it.
Okay. Yeah, and a few minutes ago, you touched on the people moods sometimes, and the way you handle the moods, and I thought that was really good. And you haven't really dealt with any hostile comments.
I have, and the way I look at it is, when I have had some that I've put out the shop. You know, they'll come in talking loud, because I'm not a loud person. They come in talking loud, and they want to cuss, they want to do this and that. And I say, I think that I would tell them, like one girl came in one time, and she was just a cussing. And I turned around and I told her, I said, we need to stop all that cussing. I said, I think you can talk better than that. But you don't want to ever yell back at someone. Right. You know, because they don't tell them what that person going to do. They don't tell them why that person cussing. They don't tell them what kind of attitude they got or how they going to come back on you. But if you say it in a way to where they respect you. So when I told her, she says, well, I'm grown. And I said, yeah, you are. I said, but one of us going to leave out here today, and it's not going to be me. So she calmed down.
Okay. And I like it when you say you don't have to raise your voice. Just being a calm way. That's really good. It's like a beautician is a counselor. You're a therapist. And then you have to relate to people in their mood. That's a lot of challenges.
It is. Yeah. And that's what they teach us, you know. It's our purpose. You know, when I got saved, they told us that God has a lamb somewhere. When he placed his lamb in that shop, that's our duty. We're here to bring people to the Lord. We're here to pray for them. We're here to listen to them. You know, we're not here to, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we do.
It's beautiful.
And I learned that when I went to a hair show in Atlanta one year. And they say, you are not placed in these businesses just to be placed in there. You're placed there for that be a psychologist. You're placed there to listen to people's problems, which we do. You know, and I don't bring up a lot of stuff to the people. I let them bring it to me first. And then I start talking on it. When I used to have my shop, I was next door over here and had that shop for 12 years. And next door over there, I told the people that was working in the shop, I told them, I said, this is what we're going to do. And this is what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is talk about people. Because we have too many people coming in the shop, and there's too many people that's some kin to each other. So when you are talking, keep your conversation low. And don't talk about anybody, because you never know who in the shop that's some kin to someone else.
It's true.
So
that is true. That is so wonderful. Gosh, I want to touch on, you mentioned it. As a child, you know, it was an all-day thing, and I remember that too. Saturday, every other Saturday was blocked off to go to the beautician. You know, it was an all day thing. You pack your lunch. And I like the idea you said when you got to shop, you weren't going to do that. How were you able to move from that all day sitting?
Well, for one thing, we didn't go to the beauty shop that much. Because Mama, it's like, sometimes I think they did that so they can go do what they they can go do what they want to do. And we would babysit by the beauty shop. Because sometimes, girl, Mama take us down there at 6 o'clock in the morning, seem like, and we would be there, and she would get up, and we would be there, and it'd be 1 or 2 o'clock before the woman get to us. We done played outside, and we done ate dinner, and everything else, and then finally she'd come, you know, because she didn't take appointments. You know, she probably did take appointments, but it seemed like all the grown people got out the way before the kids. And then we would last. And so we'd be there all day long. 3 o'clock, I think we would leave somewhere in there from 6 o'clock that morning. So, but I said to myself, if I ever get me a beauty shop, I said, I'm going to take appointments. People ain't going to stay in my shop that long. And people don't. I take appointments.
So, were they resistant to that in the beginning? Did you have people who wanted to stay all day, half the day?
I don't have it.
Okay. Okay then.
That
is good. Listen to you talk, and I see how structured you are. That is so good. But I sort of believe the beauty shop is the staple of the black community, where the black people come together and just maybe talk or hang out. But it's not that way with you.
Well, see, the one thing that I did learn is that when you take appointments, that time is for that person. Whether it's 1 hour, 2 hours, or what. So that person gets your time.
Okay.
And that's the way you look at it. But when you got people just coming in and just sitting up in a row, and I come in at 6 o'clock, the other beautician come in at 6 o'clock, she come in with 4 or 5 sitting over here. I come in with 1. And then from what I did from 6 o'clock appointment to 7 o'clock appointment to 8 o'clock appointment to 9 o'clock appointment to 10 o'clock appointment, somebody gonna be there to 12 o'clock.
That's right.
From 6 o'clock in the morning. So what's
that's right.
I ain't never figured that out yet.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing they doing. So their clients is looking at my clients going out the door. And they still sitting there. Then they'll say, well, Miss Katie just be on it. She just her just going to, but it's because I take appointments. You can't do no more than what you can do.
Right.
You can't do with one person at a time.
Yeah. That is so true. And I've talked to people, and they tell me how the hairstyles have evolved over the years. And what is your perspective on the hairstyles in the 70s as compared to now, and the techniques?
Well, when I was in beauty school, nothing haven't really changed except but the technique, the products, the hair stayed the same. And what I've seen down through the years, a lot of people buy new stuff quicker than they will the old stuff. But a lot of times the new stuff is the old stuff. That's why we go to hair shows. Just like they say when we had Jerry curls, and we still getting them today. And carefree curl that we still getting today. So now they done up the carefree curl. So now we're doing wave nouveau. But a lot of people don't know that a wave nouveau is the same thing as a carefree curl. The only thing they did, that's why we have to go to hair show to find out what's what. The only thing they did was put it in a new bottle and put a new name on it. And it's the same product. So it makes people think they're getting something different, but they're not.
Okay, that is so interesting. As I mentioned earlier, I remember being a young girl, and they would have the different straightening combs and bump your hair. Tell me something about that.
Well, back in the day, they had the heater. They had the heater that you're talking about.
Yes.
They had the heater, the gas heater. And my mom, she did hair on just the burner. stove in the house. But she did her at the house. But when you was in a beauty shop, they had
Yes.
they had a burner. But this right here was open, and it was a gas burner. You know, when you had it hooked up in your shop, like a gas line. It was hooked up in your shop like a gas line, and you turned it on like a stove, and that's what you had in the beauty shop. But now they got this right here, which is called electric heater, and it gets very hot.
Okay.
So most of the younger people are not doing this because they don't know how to press.
Okay.
They don't know how to use this.
Okay, the straightening comb.
To press the hair.
Okay.
So this is what we do. So me, as far as me, I still know how to do it. So as a lot of people come in and say, do you know how to press hair? We can't find nobody know how to press hair anymore because the young people don't know how.
Wow.
So what the young people do is they come up with the technique of using the flat iron, and they have chemicals and stuff now that they put on the hair. They say silk wrap.
Yeah, I've heard that word.
Silk wrap ain't nothing but the same thing as pressing on. You know how the Bible say nothing changed under the sun? It's the same.
That's what you said.
Same thing, maybe different, but same thing.
So silk wrap is just the
So
updated.
it's the younger people. They have to do stuff in order to make money. And so this is what they do. They got products and stuff for natural hair now, they say, and softeners and all this kind of stuff put on the hair, and then you know, flat iron it out, and once you get it flat ironed out, well then, blow dry it out, and then once you get it blow dried out,
Okay.
they have, you know, oil and stuff to go on it that you use, and then you flat iron.
Is that hard on the texture? The flat iron?
Ain't no different than this.
Wow.
Because now they make these right here just as hot as this right here.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm old fashioned, so I stick to this.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I can do this, but the only thing different than the flat iron is what I see, and then this right here is that the flat iron don't get directly to the scalp
Okay.
when you pull the hair up,
Okay.
because you still got a little puffiness,
Right. Yeah.
you know. So
Okay.
that's what I see.
Recently I saw that a conditioner is set for mixed hair. Could you elaborate on that? Working with mixed hair.
Well, I'm just gonna say it's just another way to make some money. You don't know no better.
Yeah.
So people, people, how can I say it? People do stuff because when you're ignorant to it, and that's why I say, woman asked me, they don't have broad crown anymore. I said, yes they do. I still use broad crown. People say, well, we don't use grease anymore. Yes you do. It's just in an oil form. You see what I'm saying? And it's light. So it's all the same. But the minds that they have today, the younger people, they can't grasp the same thing that we had back then.
Okay.
It's just in a different form, but it's the same thing.
Wow. Wow.
That's what I see.
Okay. Okay. This is so interesting. I'm
Because the
learning
stuff
so
that they
much.
doing with this right here,
Uh-huh.
I can do it with this right here and get it straighter.
And last longer?
And it lasts long.
Wow. I am learning a lot today. Also, I have seen children with biracial children with their hair cut really short. And I always wondered, is it like a parents knowing how? So what is, I always wonder what's going on in that situation.
From what I understand, they say that it's easier for them. People with natural curly hair, people with mixed hair, curly hair, you know, back then, they didn't know what to do with the hair, but cut it. Because all it did was just, you know, fly out.
Yeah.
So I started telling them, I said, well, when you cut it, it makes it draw up tighter. So the longer it is, the more it's going to. But a lot of it just, like I say, it's just because they don't know. So now they beginning to bring out products and stuff that you can use, like mousse and like gel and like different stuff that you can just gel it down with, or different hairstyles like braids or ponytails, you know, and stuff like that. Just make it easier. So when they came out with the relaxers, because back then we was putting relaxers on the mixed hair.
Okay.
To straighten it out, so it won't be so wavy. Because what I understand is, people that got wavy hair want straight hair.
I've always heard that.
People that got straight hair want wavy hair. We're never satisfied.
I've always heard that. Yes.
So a lot of it is just not knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I don't know everything, but it's still like that. I don't know, because when I go look at some of these products, I thought, well, shoot, I can do that with the product I already have. But yeah.
I've heard
just the way of making money.
The guys wearing the dreads. Yeah, and someone mentioned to me that's nothing new. It's just they just letting it grow longer.
Well, you know, back in the day, a guy with long hair, you thought he was gay.
Yeah,
Something wrong with that. You know, but now they can get away with that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you get a lot of guys coming into the shop? It's just mainly ladies.
We have a girl in here that do the braids, and she do a lot of them.
Okay. Yeah. I tell you what advice would you give a young person just getting started in the business?
Don't go in expecting that it's a get rich scheme real fast. It's nothing like that. You're gonna be disappointed. If you're getting in it for the money, you won't last. If you get in it because you like the love of hair, like doing hair, and you have the patience to wait till your time come, then it's good.
That's good. Yeah, you have to have a love for it. Now you mentioned that earlier. Do you see any barriers? We just talked about the young people getting into the business. You mentioned that they have to have the love for it. And I'm mainly thinking about discrimination. Do you see anything that has some form of discrimination these days when you get into the business?
Well, when I first got in it, like I told you, I started at Regis. I had a lot of the white people. They didn't want me to cut their children's hair because I was black. But if you said something to them, they would try to make it like that wasn't what it was. But we're not crazy. It was what it was. But I had a manager, and she told the woman, she said, well, she wanted the best haircut that we got in here. So she said, oh no, that's not what I really wanted, what I was talking about. But it really was. So I told her, that's fine, you know, because I was already busy. I was just taking the time to do the walk-in, you know, to keep her from waiting.
Right.
But I didn't let that get me upset. See, that's the kind of stuff you have to realize. You can't let that kind of stuff get you upset when you know that it's there. Anytime you go into that, it's there.
Right.
It's there when you go into a black shop. It's there. So that's why, I don't know how to put it. That's why, you know, you don't want to just jump on what somebody say sometimes. Because like I said, a lot of times, you don't really know what that person is going through.
Right.
So, like I say, I always say, treat a person the way you want to be treated.
What do you see as the future of black beauty shops and barber shops?
Well, I don't know about the future, but as far as black beauty shops and everything like that, we are actually in the top as far as that goes. We just don't have the money to get us there.
Okay.
That's what I look at it.
Okay, that's good. And you mentioned training, because you mentioned going back to the training every couple of years and seeing new styles and stuff. How has that benefit your business, going back to the training?
It has brought me a long way, but like I say, attitude got a lot to do with it. Because at my age now, I'm out the door. So I'm out the door, but I can always help somebody else. If they want help. I worked at JCPenney's the last 3 years before I came here, and I felt that my duty there was to help them in some areas that they didn't really know, because this was on Iranian girl that came in, and she had been using some products on her hair, and with the young people today, they don't know how to detect what they got on their hair, or if they've done anything to their hair, or what are they doing at home. I've been in it long enough to know just about what you done did to your hair by the way you talk to me.
Okay. Like the texture and
by
the
the way
chemistry.
it feels.
Okay. Okay.
So the girl came in, and the white girl was doing her hair. Her hair was black. She wanted her hair to be like an auburn color. So the only thing you put bleach on your hair, bleach gonna turn it, just like that. You put bleach on your hair. The only thing that turned was her root, which was the natural part that grew out. Everything else was still black. It was slick. It was shining. And so it wasn't none of my business, but it caught my attention. So she kept saying she didn't know why it didn't turn. It didn't turn. It didn't turn. I did this, and she went and she done it again. And so finally I just walked over to the girl. I said, "You look awful slick." And so she kept on talking. I don't know what they said. The girl wasn't saying that. And so I walked over to the girl and I looked in her face. I said, "What do you have on your hair?" "I don't have anything on my." I said, "What have you done to your hair? What have you been doing to your hair? What did you shampoo your hair with?" "All I do to my hair is shampoo my hair and I condition my hair." I said, "What kind of conditioner do you use?" She said she used avocado. She used egg. And what else? She used avocado, egg, and honey. I said, "Well, that's it." I said, "You have sealed your cuticles. You sealed it. You've coated your hair to where nothing can come penetrate through that. When you go think about honey, you go think about an egg, that's cement." So she had been doing this over and over and over. So when she came to get the color, it wouldn't penetrate. And when I said, "So what? So you have to know, because they'll make you think that it's you." So I said, "I've been in this long enough to know that you did something to your hair." I said, "So what have you been doing?" So when I started asking her questions, she came out with it. I said, "Well, that's it." And they said, "Well, Miss Katie, how you know that?" I said, "How you didn't know it? How you didn't know?" They didn't know. Because they don't know the right questions to ask. So I've had a lot of experience with hair. People can come in here and tell me whatever. If I do something in your hair, I know exactly what your hair is supposed to be looking like when you come back the next week. And if it ain't looking like that, I know exactly what you done did. Nothing.
This is so informative. Wow.
And so something else happened.
Okay.
It was a white guy came in, and they have that dry, flaky